my limit for bullshit, and I think we reached it 10 minutes ago.
Telltale Games' The Wolf Among Us was an episodic, interactive, fantasy, mystery, graphic, adventure video game, says Wikipedia, based on the Fables comic book series. Isn't that right, Gareth Evans and Liam McKelvey?
It is right, yeah.
Let's read the words.
That was a lot of words. Let's just go through that again quick. That was an episodic, interactive, fantasy, mystery, graphic, adventure video game. That's what Wikipedia said. Anyway, it was a very, very well-received game. If you missed the announcement last year, Telltale have announced Season 2 of The Wolf Among Us for this summer. So Season 2, it's been delayed now till 2019, and Telltale have come out and said why. The Wolf Among Us 2, quote, will now launch in 2019 rather than the latter half of 2018. This delay comes as a result of a few fundamental changes here at Telltale since we first announced the game last summer. Most importantly, we're committed to exploring new ways to tell our stories. Taking this extra time will allow us not only to focus on quality, but also to experiment and iterate in order to craft something truly special. And then they've kind of like, at the end they're just saying like, our goal is to make a great game because of all the passion you've showed us and stuff like that. But there we go. So that's the news. It's been delayed. There's a lot there, but there's kind of only one sentence which focuses on specifically why it's being delayed, and I'll read that one again. It's because of a few fundamental changes at Telltale since we first announced the game last summer. Mm-hmm. So is that a surprise to you at all that this has been delayed?
It is a surprise from Telltale because the last we knew, they were a company who were notorious for crunch, notorious for pushing games out the door. They took the conveyor belt strategy of producing games and just churning them out. And there was a famous note on the door of one of the offices. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was on like the door of the creative director, and it literally just said churn and burn.
Churn and burn. So known for churn and burn, Telltale Games coming out, having laid off more than half their staff, I believe, last year at some point.
So it was 25% of staff, 90 employees.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
And so that culture has now apparently changed because they're taking the approach where we're going to try and iterate on this game and try and be more creative, and not try and just push it out the door for the sake of getting the game finished. Why has this change come about is the question. Like new leadership, new people in charge.
To touch on all of the points just mentioned then, I've got some facts here helping me out, so I'll just elaborate. You were saying about the games being a conveyor belt. Well, you're totally right, because last year they released 4 games last year. This is a company that has about 350 employees, and they pumped out 4 games last year. Each one did worse in terms of its critical success and score and its popularity from the public as well. It's not just critics, but people as well. They were all being received lower and lower. Perhaps that could be a reason why they've decided to take a step back. Another reason, like you said, they laid off 25% of their staff, a quarter of their staff. They also, last year, hired a new CEO who used to work at Zynga, if you know who they are. And also they've got a guy on their company directors board now who was EA's old CEO, the guy behind some of the most unpopular decisions with EA, and the guy who got them into the worst company to work for in America. That's John Ricciatello. It's not all bad, though. He's also the CEO of Unity, which is a huge game engine. Loads of games are made on Unity. And I find this interesting because now that he's part of the company directors board, this could really fuel the rumours that they are working on a new engine. Could be another reason it's been delayed, guys, because you've played enough Telltale games between the two of you to kind of figure out that the engine that they use, it's dating a bit now. Would you agree, or would you say that, it's fine?
No, it's definitely dated.
Bit of a loaded question there, sorry.
Even stuff like, walking from scene to scene, and it's like it hitches when you go in from different scenes. You get like the characters popping in, the texture's not loading properly. I remember reading about like how they didn't even have an animation system in it. So when The Wolf Among Us, when there's a ball that rolls across the floor, they had to have someone hand animate every frame of that because the engine didn't have just basic animation in it.
It was a special engine made just for them, but it's showing signs of wear and tear a bit now. Guys, you played The Walking Dead Season 1.
Yeah.
What did you think of that when you first played it? I guess when it came out, was the engine fresh then, or even then? Can you remember it?
The way that it's stylized and graphically how it is, it doesn't matter so much. When I played The Walking Dead, I hadn't played a Telltale game before that, and so it being fresh and it being looked how it was, you don't really notice that it's limited or whatever. You just appreciate for it what it is for the time. But now going back, having there's so many Telltale games out there now, mechanically very similar and narratively very similar too. It's famous for the choices don't really matter because whatever you choose, it's just the same thing will happen anyway. So the question is raised now. They've got a new engine. They've got hopefully new mechanics to the game. Hopefully they're looking at that side of things, and they're looking at kind of developing the already established Telltale structure and method and the way the way they do things, right?
Yeah.
What are they going to do now? They've restructured the company. They've got new management in place. They've got supposedly a new engine, a new way of working, new way of doing things. They've pushed the game back. What can we expect? What do we want from Telltale? How can they move it forward? That's the question that's burning for me.
Yeah, well, based on what you just said then, the first thing that comes to my mind is it even the same company anymore? It's the same name, sure, but they've got different management, different techniques. Half of their staff aren't there anymore. 25% of them were just full on made redundant. They were saying about 4 games last year being unfeasible. But then next year, they've now got 3 games lined up. And that's The Walking Dead, the final season, Game of Thrones, season 2, as well as The Wolf Among Us. I guess they've had a year this year just to work on those games. But when it comes to The Wolf Among Us, there is a story there that it's being based on. This isn't being, like a lot of their work, it's licensed. Liam, you actually read the... Mm-hmm. Are they graphic novels or are they comics?
Comics, graphic novels.
Pretty much the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah, but I've read every single Fables comic.
Like The Walking Dead, if you've watched a TV show or you've read the graphic novel / comic, you'll know that The Walking Dead game is like same universe but different story. There's no Rick, there's no Michonne and that, apart from in The Walking Dead Michonne. So that was stupid of me to say. But in this, is there a story that they can carry on? Do you think that they can just take from the source material to maybe speed the process up or to give it a bit of foundation? What's the situation with that?
So they could, there's plenty of stories they could adapt from the comics, but there's also The Wolf Among Us season 1 acted as sort of a prequel to the first issue of the comic, and I think they'd probably go down there's lots of gaps they could fill in between different story arcs. So I think they'll probably do that again, where it'll be a standalone but integrate into the universe quite well.
We know very little about the plot of the game, but we do know that the voice actor who plays Bigby Wolf, who was the main character in the first game, and Snow White's voice actress are returning. So we know that they'll be reprising their roles. So we know it's not going to be a completely different... like Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, same universe, different characters. So we know that. So there is a potential there for a great story and a great game because they've got a character base that's got strong foundations and a lot of critical acclaim. But it could also work the other way. Do you think another year of hype and excitement is just going to hurt it in the end? Or do you think that this... What do you guys really feel? Do you think that the delays helped with...
Yeah, I don't think that delay is ever bad for the final product. Giving more time to develop a game, it's going to be more polished, it's going to have more features, more time to realise the ambition.
Liam, what do you think? Are you hopeful for this game? Are you looking forward to it? And are you happy to wait an extra 6 months or so?
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. Wolf Among Us Season 1 was my favourite Telltale game. Mm-hmm. Being a big fan of the source material, I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with for Season 2. And for the delays, they can never really hurt a product unless, you delay it so much it goes into development hell, which has not turned out well for some games in the past. But I think adding another year of development time, it'd be hard to see why that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they say in their post that they're taking extra time will not only allow us to focus on quality, but also to experiment and iterate, to craft something really special. And that's what Telltale games have needed, right? Iteration. They needed to move forward past the structure that they've traditionally had. They need to break new ground and to make it feel fresh, because all the Telltale games, they just feel like mechanically very, very similar. So let's hope that that's what they're doing and they're coming up with something fresh and new that will take the genre on and move it forward.
Yeah, it's going to take the genre being Telltale. That's the thing.
Exactly.
For me, right, I got quite strong feelings about this, and I'm just going to let it be known.
Go on,
right?
Let's be honest.
I'm very, very cautious about this because Telltale Games were a little indie studio that are now, and there's no going back at this point, a corporation, right? And you might think, all right, so what? More resources and all that. But I feel like, and based on what we've read all year, and we've seen it in an expose on The Verge, and we've seen it directly from staff that have left there, why would they lie about it, that the creative quiet types aren't the ones making the decisions anymore, and they used to. And what that means is they're not being shot down or anything like that, but they're just politely being told it needs to be safer. It needs to be a little bit more formulaic. That's not going to work. The creative people getting told that's not going to work, and listen, we've got to get stuff done. It is really damaging to any indie development studio. Sean Vanneman and all that left for Campo Santo, and they're doing fine. But I think that it's become a lot less risky. It's a lot safer, a lot more formulaic. And like you're saying about the churn and burn sign on the door, I also remember a quote which was, it isn't about writing the best story, it's about writing the best story within our time frame. And that's like, says it all. I think they're never going to ever get back to that Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us Season 1 level of quality, because they're being politely declined by the big people in charge who are huge shareholders for huge companies. It'll never ever be as special as it used to be, even if they try. That's what I feel.
Just to sprinkle a little hope though on that pessimistic outlook, is that does this not indicate that they have turned a corner? Is that the fact that they're pushing the game back does not indicate that they are giving an extra bit of time and maybe they are exploring the more creative ideas now?
Perhaps, yeah, but I think it's too little too late because of all of the work that they're doing. If they were just working on Wolf Among Us, I'd be a little bit more hopeful, but the fact that there's too many suits in there now and it's too big, it'll never have that band of writers and creatives working, because the lot of the creative people are the quiet ones, because Telltale did have some special games, and a lot of people that played them would agree. I've played a couple of newer Telltale games and they've been an absolute wash, and I really enjoyed The Walking Dead Season 1. It's a very, very memorable game. Wolf Among Us, but it's like I was saying earlier, is it the same company anymore? It's like if the band Queen had a different guitarist, a different singer, a different drummer, maybe the same bassist, and they were releasing a different genre, would it still be Queen anymore? There's a little shit metaphor for you, but that's what I feel like. Telltale are the same in name, same in IP, but they're not the same team. They're not the same blood running through the veins, and I want it to work, because who doesn't? But unfortunately, my heart is now closed up, so I don't get hurt anymore.
Well, there you go, guys. It's all on the line. That's what we think, and let us know what you think in the comments.
Yeah, The Wolf Among Us could start a whole new breed of hope and optimism for Telltale games, or it might not. Why don't you let us know what you think in the comment section below? Remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. There's also some more content on the screen right now. Should be on the sort of left-hand side of the screen. That's good, isn't it? The Patreon link right at the top there. Ooh. We'll see you next time. Thanks very much, guys, and Liam. Bye-bye.
I found out where she's